She walked into that ballroom like she belonged there. Because she did. Dr. Simone Hart, CEO, architect of the very program they were celebrating that night. But in a room full of old money and older prejudice, her title meant nothing when a 10-year-old boy decided she was entertainment. The food hit her dress. The sauce spread across silk. And then came the laughter. Sharp, bright, led by the boy's mother, a woman who thought cruelty was a joke and dignity was negotiable. Simone stood there, stained and silent, while cameras turned away and power protected itself the way it always does. What happened next didn't just expose a family, it stripped a whole room bare. Subscribe right now and tell me where you're watching from. Because this story doesn't just burn, it transforms everything. Simone arrived at the hotel early. The lobby stretched before her in marble and glass. She felt the cold shine settle over her nerves. Staff greeted certain guests by name. For her, they needed a second glance. Her title required confirmation. "Dr. Hart," the concierge said. "Welcome?" She nodded. The welcome felt measured. Caleb appeared beside her with schedules and quiet reassurance. "Everything's set," he said. "Your table is near the front." "Near," Simone said. "Not at." "It's a good spot." His voice was steady. She wanted to believe him. Caleb's confidence usually helped. Tonight it couldn't erase the familiar weight. She was welcomed and measured at the same time. "You belong here," Caleb said. "I know." Simone smoothed her dress. "I just wish they knew it too." They moved towards the ballroom entrance. Crystal chandeliers caught the light. Simone's breath caught. The space was beautiful. It was also a stage. Marion Lowe appeared in burgundy silk. Her smile was warm. "Simone, you look stunning." "Thank you, Marion. I wanted to catch you before the crowd." Marion's hand touched Simone's arm. "There are certain families here tonight, old donors. They can be particular." Simone felt something tighten in her chest. Particular? "Just be patient with them." Marion's eyes held an apology. "The evening depends on their generosity." "Of course," Simone said. Marion gestured toward the donor cluster near the bar. Grant Whitmore stood at the center. His laugh carried across the room. Claudia Whitmore glided beside him in white. "Perhaps you could greet the other partners first," Marion said. "Give them space to settle." Simone understood. Protection and exclusion wore the same face. Marion was steering her away. Inside the ballroom, compliments felt like tests. "You must have worked so hard," a woman said. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "We all work hard," Simone said. "Of course." The woman's gaze slid past her. "But it's inspiring." Simone's jaw tightened. Inspiring meant unexpected. It meant she didn't belong by right. Caleb appeared with water. "You okay?" "Fine." She took the glass. "Just practicing grace." "You shouldn't have to." "I know." Simone's voice was quiet. "But I do." Marion approached again, her hands twisted together. "Simone, about the Whitmores. They're generous, but they expect recognition." "Everyone expects recognition," Simone said. "They expect deference." Marion's eyes dropped. "Please, just be patient." The word patient landed heavy. It meant swallow it. It meant smile through it. "I understand," Simone said. Across the room, Claudia's laughter rang bright and effortless. She moved through the crowd easily. No one questioned her presence. No one suggested she be patient. Grant Whitmore's handshake lingered when he reached Simone. "Dr. Hart," he said, "I've heard impressive things." "Thank you." His grip felt like ownership. "We're happy to support your work." Support, not partnership, not respect. "We appreciate the Foundation's interest," Simone said. Grant smiled. Interest that comes with expectations. Simone felt her stomach turn. Everything had a price. Everything had conditions. A boy appeared behind them. Ethan Whitmore stared at Simone with bored curiosity. His eyes felt uncomfortably sharp. Ethan, Claudia called. Come say hello. The boy didn't move. He just watched. Simone felt his gaze crawl over her dress. Simone took her seat. The table was close enough to be visible. It was far from the donor's center. She understood the choreography. No one had to name it. Can I get you anything? A guest asked. Simone looked up. The man gestured toward her water glass. He thought she was staff. I'm fine, thank you. Her voice stayed level. I'm seated here. His face flushed. Oh God, I'm so sorry. It's okay. Simone smiled gently. No, really. His apology came too loud. I didn't mean... It's fine. She wanted him to stop. Really? Other guests turned. Their attention felt like weight. Simone's chest tightened. Caleb leaned close. I can say something. Don't. Simone touched his arm. It'll make it worse. He assumed... I know what he assumed. Simone's breath was careful. And making a scene won't change that? Her restraint was practiced. It was a shield she'd carried for years. Show anger and become the problem. Stay quiet and swallow the injury. You shouldn't have to manage this, Caleb said. But I do. Simone smoothed her dress. Every day. Across the room, Ethan watched her again. His fingers flicked bread between his hands. He looked entertained. Simone felt something cold settle in her stomach. The boy's stare didn't waver. He watched her adjustment, her composed smile, her careful breathing. She felt studied. Ethan wandered closer to Simone's table. Bread rolled between his fingers. He tested the room's rules with each step. Claudia noticed. She said nothing. Her silence felt like permission. Grant glanced over. He gave a distracted nod. The gesture said, "Boys will be boys." Simone tried to refocus. Community health, dignity, outcomes. Those were the reasons she came. Not this discomfort, not this boy's entitled stare. He's watching you, Caleb whispered. I know. Should I? No. Simone's voice was firm. If I react, I'm the problem. She'd learned this lesson young. Show discomfort and you're too sensitive. Defend yourself and you're aggressive. The script was written long before tonight. Ethan moved closer. His smile held something ugly, something that knew it wouldn't face consequences. Evening, ma'am, he said. His tone mocked courtesy. Simone heard the adults in his voice, the ones who taught him certain people deserved less. Good evening, she said. Ethan's grin widened. He lifted his hand slightly. Bread and sauce dripped from his fingers. The motion felt deliberate, practiced. Simone's heart beat faster. She knew what was coming. The old lesson rose sharp and clear. React and you're difficult. Stay silent, and the story becomes a joke. The boy's hand lifted higher. The food hit her shoulder. Sauce and soft bread splattered across her dress. The room's sound fractured. A few people gasped. Then laughter started. It tried to make cruelty into comedy. Claudia's laugh rang clearest, bright and sharp. It gave permission to the others. Simone froze. Heat rushed behind her eyes. Her napkin was in her hand. Cameras shifted subtly in her direction. Oh my God, someone whispered. Ethan grinned. He looked at his mother. Claudia was still laughing, still giving approval. Simone felt the sauce seep through fabric. The stain spread warm against her skin. Everyone was watching. Everyone was choosing how to respond. Simone, Caleb said. His voice shook. She raised her hand. Not yet. She needed to think, to choose her response carefully. Grant chuckled. Boys and their games. Games. The word tried to erase intention, tried to make humiliation accidental. Marian's face had gone pale. She didn't laugh. But she didn't speak either. Her silence joined the others. Simone stood slowly. She refused to rush, refused to perform shock or anger for their comfort. Her chest tightened. Her breath came careful and measured. She would not give them the reaction they expected. "Excuse me," she said. Her voice was steady. Too steady. It cost her everything to keep it level. She walked toward the restroom. Each step was deliberate. Each step was an act of will. Behind her, the laughter continued. Softer now, uncertain, but still there. The restroom door closed behind her. Simone's hands shook. She gripped the counter. Her reflection stared back. Sauce stained her shoulder and chest. The dress was ruined. But the dress didn't matter. The public humiliation did. She reached for paper towels. Water ran cold over her fingers. She blotted the stain. It spread instead of lifting. "Simone," Caleb's voice came from outside. Give me a minute." Her breath caught. She felt tears threaten. No. Not here. Not now. She couldn't let them crack her. The door opened. Marian entered. Her voice was soft with panic. "Simone, I'm so sorry." "Are you?" Marian flinched. "Of course, that was inappropriate." "Inappropriate?" Simone's laugh was bitter. "That's the word you're using?" "I meant—" Marian's hands twisted. "We should handle this privately." There it was. Privacy. The suggestion that Simone should disappear, make the injury smaller by hiding it. "Privately," Simone repeated, "for everyone's comfort." Marian's eyes pleaded. "The gala still has programming." "My comfort wasn't considered." Simone turned back to the mirror. "Why should theirs be?" "I know this is hard." "You don't." Simone's voice was calm, firm. "You don't know. Because it doesn't happen to you." Marian's face flushed. She had no answer. No defense. Simone blotted the stain again. It was still visible. Faint but present. "Good. Let it stay. Let the truth refuse to vanish." She walked to the door. Marian stepped aside. "I'm going back," Simone said. "Simone, I belong there." Her eyes found Marian's. "And I won't disappear to make them comfortable." Grant approached with a practiced smile. His donor face. Simone recognized it immediately. "Dr. Hart," he said. "That was unfortunate." "Unfortunate. Not wrong, not cruel, unfortunate." "Yes," Simone said. "Boys, you know." Grant's laugh was easy. "No harm meant." No harm. The words tried to erase her stained dress, her public humiliation. "I'd like to make this right," Grant continued. Simone waited. She knew what was coming. A larger contribution. His voice was smooth, negotiation wrapped in generosity. "To your organization. Consider it an apology." There it was. Money as a bandage, dignity with a price tag. "That's generous," Simone said. Grant's smile widened. He thought she'd accepted. "But I can't accept it for myself." Her voice stayed level. "The charity appreciates your support. I don't need your apology purchased." Grant's eyes hardened. It was subtle. A flicker of surprise that someone had said no. "I'm trying to help," he said. "Are you?" Simone felt something shift in her expression. "Or are you trying to make this disappear?" "Simone." His tone changed, sharper now. "You should think carefully." A threat, polite and dressed in concern, but a threat. "I am thinking carefully," she said. Caleb watched from across the room. He understood. Simone was choosing the longer road, the harder one. Consequence instead of confrontation. Grant's jaw tightened. "We'll talk later." He walked away. His confidence was intact. He thought later meant he'd win. Simone turned to Marion. "I need a microphone slot, before the evening ends." Marion's face went pale. Marion's hands shook. "Simone, the donors." "I know about the donors." Simone's voice was quiet. "I also know about truth. This could damage the gala." Marion's breathing was quick. "Years of work." "What about my dignity?" Simone asked. "What's that worth?" Marion had no answer. Her silence stretched between them. Reverend Clay appeared beside them. His presence steadied the air. He'd seen enough years to recognize a moral crossroads. "Marion," he said, "what kind of charity builds itself on someone's humiliation?" Marion's eyes watered. "I don't know what to do." "Yes, you do." The Reverend's voice was gentle. "You've always known. You've just been afraid." Simone waited. She wouldn't beg, wouldn't demand. The choice had to be Marion's. "I don't want a spectacle," Simone said. "I want honesty, and honesty requires light." Marion looked between them. Her career hung in the balance, her access to donor circles, her carefully built reputation. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay," Simone asked. "Okay." Marion's voice grew stronger. "I'll arrange it." Her hands were still shaking, but they moved forward, reaching for her phone, making notes. Simone sat back down, not to shrink, not to hide, to hold her place with quiet defiance. The stain on her dress caught the light. It was faint but visible, a truth that refused to disappear. Across the room, conversations continued. Laughter rose and fell. No one knew what was coming. The MC's voice rang out. "Later this evening, a special address from Dr. Simone Hart." Simone's name lingered in the room. It felt like a warning and a promise. Whispers spread through the ballroom. They moved soft as silk, sharp as needles. "Did you hear she's speaking later?" "About what happened?" "She's making it a thing." Simone heard the judgments. Some blamed Ethan. Others blamed her for not letting it go. Claudia floated from table to table. Her laughter was too bright. She tried to coat the moment in charm, to make it vanish under elegance. "These things happen," Claudia said to a group. "Children, you know." She smiled. The guests smiled back. Permission granted. "Move on." Marion stood near the AV booth. She overheard staff being instructed. "Discourage phone recordings," a manager said. "Keep this contained." Something shifted in Marion's chest. Not fear this time. Disgust. She'd spent years managing moments, smoothing tensions, protecting images over people. Her stomach turned with recognition. Simone watched from her table. The room's moral weather was changing. She felt it in the careful glances, the nervous laughter, the way people avoided her eyes. Caleb leaned close. "They're trying to bury it." "I know." Simone's voice was steady. "But truth doesn't stay buried long." "What if they cut your microphone time?" "Then we'll know exactly who they are." Her eyes found Marion's across the room. And so will everyone else. The next few minutes would define more than her evening. They would define the charity's integrity, the room's character, whether dignity mattered at all. Marion moved toward the AV booth again. She asked quietly, "What footage do we have?" The technician looked uncomfortable. "Everything. But I was told—" "I'm asking what exists," Marion said, "not what you were told." Her first step out of neutrality. A server approached Simone's table. Young. Nervous. Her hands twisted her apron. "Dr. Hart," she whispered. "Yes?" "I'm sorry about what happened." The server's voice shook. "That was wrong." Simone's chest tightened. Thank you. It's not the first time. The words rushed out. The Whitmores. They've done things before. Simone felt the insult expand, beyond herself, into a pattern that relied on silence, on people too vulnerable to speak. What things? Simone asked gently. Complaints to get staff fired, demanding refunds over nothing. The server looked around. They humiliate people, then laugh about it. Caleb's jaw clenched. He realized this wasn't just personal. It was systemic. Simone's restraint had given them space to see it. Would you feel safe speaking to Marion? Simone asked. The gala director? The server's hesitation made the stakes painfully clear. I need this job. I understand. If I say something, they could... The server's eyes watered. They have power here. Simone felt rage and sorrow mix. The Whitmores had built their influence on fear, on knowing who couldn't fight back. What's your name? Simone asked. Maria. Maria, I won't ask you to risk your safety. Simone's voice was firm. But if you want to speak, I'll make sure you're protected. Maria nodded. She didn't commit, but she didn't walk away either. Simone decided something fundamental. Accountability must include protection for the vulnerable, not just punishment for the loud. Thank you for telling me, Simone said. Maria disappeared into the crowd. Simone watched her go. The anger in her chest burned hotter, clearer. This wasn't about one humiliation. It was about a system. Marion found Claudia near the dessert table. She tried to keep her voice gentle, professional. Claudia, we need to discuss what happened. Oh, that? Claudia waved her hand. A child's moment, nothing serious. It was serious to Simone. Claudia's smile thinned. Dr. Hart is being too sensitive. These things happen at events. The words landed heavy. Marion felt shame flush her face, not because Claudia insulted Simone, because Marion recognized the language. She'd used it herself. Too many times. She was humiliated, Marion said. She was inconvenienced. Claudia's tone hardened. And making it dramatic helps no one. Dramatic. The word was a weapon. It tried to make Simone's dignity small. I think we owe her better, Marion said. We owe her nothing. Claudia's eyes went cold. Our money built this event. Remember that. Marion's hands trembled. She'd heard this before. Money as moral authority. Donations as permission to harm. Reverend Clay appeared beside them. He didn't speak immediately, just stood there, present. Reverend, Claudia said, tell Marion this is being blown out of proportion. I can't do that, he said quietly. Why not? Because it's not true. His voice held decades of moral clarity. And I'm too old to lie. Claudia's face flushed. She walked away without another word. Marion felt tears threaten. I've been doing this for years, smoothing things over, protecting the wrong people. What kind of night do you want to be remembered for? Clay asked. Marion's eyes watered fully. Her life had been built on absorbing other people's pain, making it disappear. She walked to the AV booth. No edits, she told the team. No spin, only truth. Claudia took the microphone for a light remark. The MC handed it to her with a smile. Donors always got the mic. I know we've had a few bumps tonight, Claudia said. Her voice was musical. But that's what happens when children are around. Laughter rippled through the room. Not everyone laughed, but enough did. Accidents happen, she continued, and we move forward with grace. Simone held her posture. Inside, she burned. The familiar burn of being expected to absorb it gracefully. To smile through the second assault. Claudia was turning cruelty into comedy, making the room complicit in minimizing harm. Let's focus on what matters, Claudia said. The incredible work we're supporting tonight. More applause. The room wanted to move on, wanted comfort over truth. Caleb gripped his chair. His knuckles were white. I want to stand up. Simone placed her hand on his arm, not to silence him, to guide him into her strategy. Not yet, she whispered. Wait. For what? For the right moment. Her eyes stayed on Claudia. Timing matters. The room's laughter faded. Claudia handed the microphone back. She looked satisfied, victorious. Simone rose from her seat, not angry, not pleading, simply present. The movement caught attention. Heads turned, conversations paused. The MC's face went uncertain. He'd seen something in Simone's expression, something that didn't bend. Dr. Hart, he said. His voice wavered. Would you like to say a few words? Simone walked forward. Each step was deliberate. The room held its breath. The MC handed her the microphone. His hand shook slightly. Simone stood at the microphone. The ballroom felt enormous. Every eye was on her. Thank you, she said. Her voice was measured, calm. I wasn't planning to speak twice tonight. A few nervous laughs, uncertain. But something happened this evening. She paused. Something that needs addressing. The room shifted. People looked down at their plates, uncomfortable. Dignity is a word we use often in charity work, Simone continued. We talk about restoring dignity, protecting dignity, honoring dignity. Grant's face had gone hard. He saw where this was going. But what happens when dignity is stolen in a room full of people? Simone's eyes swept the crowd. When harm is turned into a joke, who does the laughter serve? Silence stretched, deep and uncomfortable. I'm not here to name names. Her voice stayed steady. I'm here to ask a question. What kind of community do we want to build? Claudia's smile had frozen. Marian watched from the side. Her hands were clasped tight. A community that protects those with power? Simone asked. Or one that protects those without it? The question hung in the air. No one moved. When a child throws food at someone and adults laugh, what are we teaching? Simone's breath caught. We're teaching that some people matter less. A woman in the back row looked away. Her face was flushed. I work in public health, Simone said. I see the results of that teaching every day. And who gets care, who gets believed, who gets justice? Caleb felt something shift in the room. The air had changed. Simone's eyes landed briefly on Ethan. The boy looked less entertained now, more unsure. I'm asking us to do better, she said. Not for me, for everyone this charity claims to serve. She handed the microphone back. The MC took it with trembling hands. Backstage, Marian's phone buzzed. Messages arrived in clusters. Attendees had videos. The incident was being discussed online, privately, carefully. Grant discovered this within minutes. He cornered Marian near the coat check. His voice was low, controlled. You need to contain this, he said. I don't know if I can. You can. His eyes were steel. Delete the footage. Remind people of their NDAs. Marian felt her throat tighten. Grant, donors will vanish if this becomes a story. He stepped closer. Your career will break. Is that what you want? She'd lived on that fear for decades. Donors leaving, funding disappearing, her reputation destroyed. Is it true? Marian asked. What the server said about you humiliating staff. Grant's jaw clenched. Complaints happen. We demand quality service. You get people fired for entertainment. I get people fired for incompetence. His voice was sharp. Don't confuse the two. Marian remembered Simone's stained dress, her own long habit of asking others to swallow pain, to stay quiet, to protect the powerful. I won't help you erase this, she said. Grant's face changed. Something ugly and honest emerged. Then you're done here. Maybe I am. You'll regret this. He pulled out his phone. The board will hear about your mismanagement, your bias against donors. Marion watched him dial. Her hands shook, but she didn't stop him. He made the call quietly, threatening the board's funding if Simone stayed centered, if the footage surfaced, if the story continued. Marion walked away. Each step felt heavier. She'd chosen truth over security. The weight was terrifying, liberating. The board chair appeared looking pale, anxious. He pulled Marion aside. Grant just called, he said. I know. He's threatening to pull major funding. I know that too. Marion's voice was steady. What will you do? The board chair didn't answer immediately. Caleb joined them. His face was set. There's something you should know, Caleb said, about Dr. Hart's organization. What about it? They provided the data platform for your featured initiative. Caleb pulled up his phone. The health outcomes you're celebrating tonight, that was Simone's work. The board chair stared. The Whitmores funded the visibility. The Whitmores paid for the gala. Caleb's voice was firm. Dr. Hart produced the results. There's a difference. Marion felt something click. Money bought attention. Impact required actual work. She built the tracking system, Caleb continued, trained the community health workers, analyzed the data. The Whitmores wrote a check. The board chair's face shifted. Understanding replacing assumption. Simone overheard from nearby. She felt something steadier than anger rise. Clarity. The hidden power wasn't fame. It was undeniable impact. Why didn't we know this? The board chair asked. Because Dr. Hart doesn't demand credit, Caleb said. She just does the work. The board chair looked across the room. He saw Simone standing quiet, dignified, stained. I need to see the footage, he said. Unedited. Marion's breath caught. You're sure? I'm tired of protecting the wrong people. His voice was tight. Show me what happened. The board gathered in a side room. Marion showed them the unedited footage. Ethan's throw, Claudia's laughter, the room's scattered reactions. They watched in silence. When it ended, no one spoke immediately. This is bad, one board member said. This is the truth, Marion corrected. We need to address it, the board chair said, but carefully. Carefully. The word made Simone's stomach turn when she heard it later. She'd joined the meeting at their request. We'll handle this after the gala, another board member said, to avoid disrupting the mission. The phrase sounded compassionate. It tasted hollow, avoidance dressed as wisdom. After? Simone's voice was quiet. It's better for everyone, the board chair said. We'll investigate thoroughly, take appropriate action. Delay, the oldest tool of institutional cowardice. I see, Simone said. She nodded politely. Inside, despair crept in. Even truth could be postponed into meaninglessness. Claudia heard about the decision. Her smirk returned. Delay meant victory. Time to rewrite the narrative, to make it disappear. Ethan saw his mother's confidence. He started to grin again. The adults were protecting them, just as they always did. Marion left the meeting shaken. She'd risked everything for a compromise that still protected the powerful. Her hands trembled with regret. Simone walked into the hallway. Alone. She stared down at her dress. The stain was still faintly visible. She felt doubt return heavy and cold. Maybe she should have taken Grant's money. Maybe silence was the only option that worked. Maybe dignity was just a word people used, not something they actually defended. The hallway was empty. Quiet. Simone's breath caught. She felt smaller than she had all night. Her phone stayed silent. No support. No solidarity. Just institutional caution wrapped in procedural language. Simone stood alone in the hallway. 2 guests passed. Their voices carried. "That speech was a bit much," one said. "Making it about race when it was just a kid," the other agreed. The words hit harder than the food. They carried the room's permission. The narrative was already being rewritten. Caleb found her. "We should leave. Protect your peace." Leaving lets them control the story. Simone's voice was tired. "They'll say I overreacted, that I couldn't handle it. You don't owe them anything. I owe myself the truth." She felt her throat tighten. And the truth requires witnesses. Reverend Clay appeared at the hallway's end. He walked slowly. His presence was steady. "Simone," he said, "walk with me a moment." They moved towards the terrace doors. Cool air touched her skin. "You're thinking about leaving," Clay said. "I'm thinking I made a mistake staying." "Why?" "Because nothing changed." Simone's hands shook. "They postponed accountability into nothing. I exposed myself for a board meeting they'll forget by morning." Clay was quiet. Then he spoke. "Dignity sometimes requires staying in the fire, long enough for others to see it clearly. I'm tired of burning." "I know." His voice was gentle. "But you're not alone in the flames anymore." Simone looked back through the glass. Marion was arguing with a board member. Mariah the server was speaking to someone quietly. Caleb stood watching the room like a sentinel. "Later is just another word for never," Simone said. "Then don't accept later." Clay's eyes were clear. "Demand now." Simone felt something shift. She wouldn't leave. She wouldn't accept delay. Not tonight. She walked back inside, found the board chair near the bar. "I need to speak with you," she said, "before this gala ends." His face went pale. The board chair led Simone to a private room. His careful language started immediately. "We understand your frustration." "Do you?" Simone's voice was steady. "Or are you managing me?" "We have to consider all stakeholders." "Stakeholders?" The word tasted bitter. "I'm a stakeholder. So is every person they've humiliated. Grant Whitmore funds significant programs. And I built the one you're celebrating tonight." Simone leaned forward. "Money doesn't erase harm. It just delays accountability." The board chair shifted uncomfortably. "We can't alienate major donors." "You already alienated truth." Her eyes held his. "That's worse." Marion entered unexpectedly. She carried a tablet. Her hands trembled. "I have the unedited footage," Marion said, "and 3 staff accounts of previous incidents." The board chair looked startled. "Marion, I also have my resignation letter." Her voice shook but held. "Ready to send if needed." "That's not necessary." "It is if we bury this." Marion's eyes watered. "I've spent years protecting the wrong people. I'm done." Simone studied Marion's face, saw genuine change, costly change. "Who does your silence protect?" Simone asked the board chair. He didn't answer immediately. His face showed the calculation. Donors versus integrity. Money versus morality. "If we show this publicly," he finally said, "we lose funding." "If you don't," Marion said quietly, "you lose your mission." The board chair's shoulders sagged. He looked old suddenly. Tired. "What do you want?" he asked Simone. "The truth shown tonight," she said. "Public accountability. Real consequences." "That could destroy the gala." "The gala was already destroyed." Simone's voice was firm. "When they laughed. You just haven't admitted it yet." Marion placed the tablet on the table. "I'm showing the footage, with or without board approval." The board chair stared at both women, trapped between money and morality. Grant found Simone outside the private room. His donor smile was gone. Real anger showed through. "You're making a mistake," he said. "Am I?" "I'm offering to make this right." His voice sharpened. "Significant funding, public partnership, access you've never had." "I don't want access bought with silence." Grant stepped closer. His tone shifted. Lower. More threatening. "Your organization depends on partnerships. I can make those disappear." Simone felt the threat wrap around her throat. Familiar. Controlled. Civilized violence. "Are you threatening me?" she asked. "I'm reminding you how things work." His smile was cold. "Money moves programs. Anger moves nothing." Caleb appeared in the doorway. He started forward. Simone raised her hand. "Stop. This wasn't about male protection. This was about her agency, her choice." "My organization's integrity is its leverage," Simone said. "I won't trade it for comfort." "Integrity doesn't pay salaries." "Neither does corruption." Her voice stayed level. "Not in the long run." Grant's jaw clenched. "You'll regret this." "Maybe." Simone met his eyes. "But I'll regret silence more." "We'll see." Grant walked away, his confidence intact. For him, confidence had always been bought, always worked. Caleb touched Simone's shoulder. "Are you okay?" "No." Her voice was honest. "But I'm right." She watched Grant rejoin Claudia. They whispered, plotted, rebuilt their strategy. Simone felt fear settle cold in her chest. What if truth wasn't enough? What if power always won? The board chair found Simone again. His face was grave. "I need you to understand the stakes." "I understand them." "If the Whitmores pull funding, programs suffer." He looked pained. "Real people lose services. Can you live with that?" The question was a trap. Justice might cost the people she served. The cruel mathematics of institutional power. Simone sat down, suddenly exhausted. "You're asking me to choose between dignity and impact." "I'm asking you to consider consequences." She imagined headlines. "Difficult CEO costs community programs." Her courage rewritten as selfishness. Despair tried to crawl in. Maybe she was being foolish. Maybe silence was the price of service. "What would you do?" she asked. The board chair looked away. "I don't know." Honest, useless, but honest. Simone stood in the hallway again, alone. She heard applause from the ballroom, awards being given, empty generosity celebrated. She felt smaller than she had all night, trapped, powerless. Ethan appeared with Claudia. The boy looked emboldened again. Claudia's eyes carried a cold warning. Behave or lose everything. Simone understood the message. Submit or be destroyed. Her phone buzzed, a text from Marion. "I'm doing it. I'm showing the truth. Tonight." Simone's breath caught. She wasn't alone. The fire had spread. She typed back. "Are you sure?" "No, but I'm doing it anyway." Simone felt something break open in her chest. Not hope exactly, but possibility. The chance that truth might matter after all. She walked back towards the ballroom. Each step was a choice. To stay, to fight, to believe dignity was worth the cost. Marion stepped onto the stage. The gala was winding down. Dessert had been served. People were relaxed, satisfied. "Excuse me," Marion said. Her voice wavered. "I need a moment of your time." The room quieted. Curious, slightly annoyed at the interruption. "Tonight is about dignity," Marion continued, "about serving those who need us most." Grant's face went hard. He saw where this was going. "In that spirit, I want to show you something." Marion nodded to the AV booth. "In the interest of accountability." The screen lit up. Unedited footage began. Ethan throwing food, The impact, Simone's frozen moment, Claudia's laughter, the scattered reactions, the silence that followed. A hush spread through the ballroom, complete, suffocating. Even silverware went silent. Simone watched faces change, some filled with shame, others with anger, a few with sudden understanding. They'd participated in this, by laughing, by staying quiet, by accepting the narrative that it was just a joke. The footage ended. The screen went dark. No one moved. Marion's voice shook. "This happened tonight, in this room, to Dr. Simone Hart." Claudia stood. "This is inappropriate." "So was the assault," Marion said. Her voice grew stronger. "And the laughter that followed." Grant tried to speak. His mouth opened. Nothing came out. The board chair stood. His face was pale. He realized the gala's moral center had shifted. Beyond donor control. Beyond money. "We owe Dr. Hart an apology," he said. "We all do." Simone sat very still. Her chest tightened. Something was breaking open. She wasn't sure if it was hope or fear. Simone took the microphone. The room waited. Tense. Uncertain. "Thank you, Marion," she said. Her voice was calm. Direct. "For choosing truth." She looked across the ballroom, saw hundreds of faces. Some guilty. Some confused. All watching. "I'm not here for revenge," Simone said. "I'm here for accountability." Grant's hands gripped the table. Claudia had gone pale. "Tonight, dignity was treated as optional." Simone's eyes swept the crowd. "Harm was called a joke. Humiliation was called an accident." She paused. Let the words settle. "This charity talks about values, about serving the vulnerable, about justice." Her voice was steady. "But values without action are just words." Caleb stood. He carried documents, walked to the stage. "Dr. Hart's organization built the health initiative we celebrated tonight," he said. "The data platform, the training programs, the measurable outcomes." He presented the facts. Clear, undeniable, impact versus money, work versus wealth. The board chair stood again. "I'm removing Grant Whitmore from the Donor Council, pending a full review of tonight's events." The room erupted. Stunned murmurs, gasps. A few people started clapping, uncertain, then stronger. Claudia tried to speak. "You can't." "We can," the board chair said, "and we will." Grant's face went red. Years of purchased influence collapsing. Ethan started crying. Not performatively. Real tears. Confused by the sudden collapse of the world that had always protected him. The boy looked at his mother, then his father, seeing them clearly for the first time. Adults didn't always win. Money didn't always matter. Consequences were real. Offstage, away from cameras, Claudia and Grant approached Simone. They looked shaken, smaller somehow. "Dr. Hart," Claudia's voice trembled. "We need to talk." Simone waited, said nothing. "We're sorry," Grant said. The words sounded foreign in his mouth. "Truly." Simone studied their faces, saw fear, desperation, the panic of people losing control. "Sorry for what?" she asked. "For what happened tonight," Claudia said quickly. "Be specific." Claudia's mouth opened, closed. She hadn't thought past the word sorry. "For the humiliation," Grant tried. "For not stopping it. For laughing at it," Simone said. "For trying to buy my silence. For threatening my work." They flinched. Each word landed. "Yes," Claudia whispered. "All of that." Simone felt temptation rise. To grant quick mercy, to end the discomfort, make it stop. But comfort wasn't the goal. Change was. "Forgiveness isn't a transaction," she said. "I can't just give it and make this disappear." "What do you want?" Grant asked. "A public apology that names the racism, the entitlement." Her voice was firm. restitution to the staff you've threatened, a real commitment to learn, without self-pity. Claudia's face cracked. I want you to do the work. Simone's eyes held hers. Real repair, not performance. Ethan appeared behind them. His face was wet with tears. I thought it was funny because Mom laughed. The words fell into silence. Brutal. Honest. Claudia turned to her son, her composure shattered. She knelt down. I taught you wrong. The admission broke something open. Grant's face showed. Recognition, too. Horror at what they'd built. Simone watched. Sad. Steady. Unwilling to pretend this was enough yet. You have a choice, she said. Stay who you were, or become who you should be. 3 weeks later, Simone stood in the same hotel. Different room. Smaller. No spectacle. Just work. The Community Health Initiative was launching new programs, real outcomes, real impact, no cameras needed. Marion was there. Her shoulders looked lighter. She'd resigned from donor-driven galas. Now she built programs with clear dignity standards. Thank you for coming, Marion said. Thank you for choosing truth, Simone replied. The Whitmores arrived quietly. No swagger, no entourage. They looked nervous. Claudia approached the small podium. Her hands shook. She read from notes she'd written herself. 3 weeks ago, I laughed when my son threw food at Dr. Hart, she said. Her voice was careful, honest. I laughed because I thought her dignity mattered less than my comfort. The room was silent, attentive. I taught my son that some people are less human, less deserving of respect. Claudia's eyes watered. I was wrong, deeply, completely wrong. She announced funding for staff protection programs, bias training, not for appearing good, for doing repair. This doesn't erase what happened, she said. It's just a beginning. Simone accepted the apology with a boundary. Change is a practice, not a moment. We'll see if this lasts. Claudia nodded. No defense, no excuses. Ethan stood beside his parents. Quieter now, learning that actions had weight, that people mattered. The event continued, programs discussed, partnerships formed, dignity centered in every decision. Simone sat at a table afterward. She folded a napkin carefully. No stain this time. The fabric was clean. She felt tired, but also clear. Justice at its best made room for transformation, without erasing truth. Caleb joined her. You did it. We did it. Simone's voice was soft. All of us who refused to stay quiet. Outside, the city continued. Imperfect, struggling, but maybe slightly better than before. Simone stood, ready to leave, to rest, to begin again tomorrow. Justice wasn't a moment. It was work that never quite ended. But tonight, for now, there was peace.